After a hot start, North Carolina allowed Louisville to cut the lead to 5 in the second half. But here's the thing. Coach Davis let the guys figure it out on their own. And boy, figure it out they did.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, it's Thursday, January 18th, 2024. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Shea. Joining me today on Thursday this week is our guy, Coach Pat Kilby, as we unpack a Carolina victory. We want to thank you everydayers in particular for making Locked On Tar Heels your first listen or watch to get your Tar Heels content every day. If you're brand new to the show or you're coming back again for a visit, we're so glad you're here, and we want to encourage you to come join the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, where we're talking Carolina all day long. Though it's free to join. The link for that is in the show notes. This episode, it's brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. All right, Pack, we are celebrating a Carolina victory over Louisville, 86-70. I think a lot of people thought this was going to be another Biscuits game, but it was not. The Tar Heels are 6-0 in ACC play, one of just 4 Power 6 teams who are still undefeated in conference play. If I trivia'd everyone, you would probably not get the other 3, but it's Auburn, Alabama, and Oregon. That's right. As we record right now, Pack, even after what I think a lot of people probably thought was a less than stellar offensive and defensive game, Carolina is still 7th at KenPom, 15th in offensive efficiency, and still 5th in defensive efficiency. But Pack, here's the thing I think that everyone's going to want to be talking about following this game. What on earth happened in the second half?
Well, it was just kind of a sloppy start right out of the gate there in the second half. And I think there's some credit that deserves to be given to Louisville.
That's right.
I think at one point they were 5 of 6 from 3 in the second half. So they came out kind of hot, and they even hit some tough shots. Well, I thought we were there, and they went in, especially Sky Clark. He really got going in the second half. And so it was sloppiness on our end, mixed with them hitting some shots. And, before you know it, they were right back in the game. And Carolina had to figure out how to respond to it and figure it out. And so, and they did that, kind of like you mentioned earlier in the cold open. They did figure it out. And Coach Davis allowed them to, which goes back to kind of the Coach Williams era.
I love it. Absolutely.
Are you going to call a timeout? Or are you not going to call a timeout? No, I'm not going to call a timeout. These guys got to figure it out. And that's exactly what they did.
I think that's my biggest takeaway from this whole thing is that, look, would you have loved to blitz Louisville the entire game like you did? What a great start for Carolina, Pack. You and I were texting about it. It was like, man, this is great. It's just like the Syracuse game. That's what we were looking for. But down the stretch of the first half, and as you said at the beginning of the second half, Louisville, man, kind of found themselves a little bit. For those who haven't been paying attention, as not good as they are, they have been playing better of late, the last 3 games to be specific. And Pack, I really appreciated that Coach Davis let these guys dig themselves out of their own hole, basically. That is what a team has to learn to be able to do. A coach cannot be the one to always bail you out. And this team is talented, they are experienced, and they are veteran. As we've said multiple times this season, they are the 5th most experienced team in D1, according to KenPom. And so, Pack, it's critically important that Hubert Davis doesn't always have to come bail them out of jail, or when they forget their lunch money for elementary school, their mom comes and brings it to them, or whatever it is. And Pack, you as a coach, tell us why that's important for a team to be able to find their own way out of this kind of hole.
Well, you got to think about just the leadership that's developed, the chemistry. Some of the best teams are formed by going through some trials together. And actually, all of the best teams are formed through going through trials and being tested and then overcoming them. And that's exactly what they did today. And, you could look at it and go, but it's Louisville. But there's lessons to be learned from that, and the thing is when you can learn those lessons and still win, that's a win-win situation. And that's exactly what we were able to do. We were able to get the win, still a double-digit win, and learn lessons about not taking our foot off the gas and not getting sloppy and locking in defensively for an entire 40 minutes. And so there were lots of lessons to be learned, but we still got the win in doing so. So I'm very, very pleased with that.
And for me, Pack, the moment where it all flipped is the lowest the margin got was 5. And then Carolina, it had bounced back and forth a little bit. The lead was 7, and Louisville had the ball with a chance to get it down to 5 or even 4. Sky Clark got the ball on the right wing with about 14 or so seconds left on the shot clock. Excuse me. I'm talking about Sky Clark. And he was the dude that did it for Louisville. He was their leading scorer, 16 points, 6 of 12 shooting, 4 of 5 from 3. In fact, that's critical because who's on him at this moment? Seth Trimble. And Seth goes out on him. Sky Clark tries to make a move on the right wing. Nothing. He takes him across the top of the key. There's a screen set. Seth Trimble fights his way over the screen, doesn't go under it, Pack. That's critically important. You can't be going under those screens. Stays with Sky Clark all the way to the left wing. Sky Clark now tries to come into the paint. Seth Trimble's with him every step of the way. And then Clark has to just settle for this off-balance fadeaway mid-range 2. That's exactly the shot you want to force. And then what happens? Jalen Washington gets the rebound, pitches ahead to RJ Davis as he falls on his butt. RJ shoots this ridiculously long outlet pass to Harrison Ingram. The end of the possession is that RJ winds up with a 3. Carolina's lead is back to 10. It never gets back under 8. And at that point, the Tar Heels are ultimately in control. Pack, that was the turning point for me. Why do I say that? Because once again, Carolina does it with defense. This is the calling card of this team.
Yes, it is. They can't win at the level we want them to and at the level they want to without the defense. And that's where you nailed it. That's where we found our turning point tonight was really digging in on the defensive end, especially Seth Trimble, which he does very consistently for us, and creating a big energy play. And, something I wanted to talk about that I meant to mention just a moment ago when I was talking, but, about Hubert letting this team play through this and figure it out. You got to remember, even though this is the most experienced team or the 5th most experienced team in Division I, these guys haven't always played together.
That's right. And that's a great point.
Coming from, Notre Dame or Brown or wherever. And so they have to, though they may be experienced, they have to develop that chemistry within themselves. And that is a big, big thing, going through those trials, but learning to trust each other and play together. That was what I really took away from tonight was our being able to do that. And then lock in on the defensive end, like you mentioned. I think that's what really turned it around for us.
That's good, man. I just love this staple of things, as you said, going back to Coach Williams, letting them play through it. We know Coach Smith did that as well. And Pack, another massive part of Carolina being able to do this, a key contributor was a guy going against his former team in Jae'lyn Withers. And Pack, I could not be happier for Jalen to have had his best game as a Tar Heel. We've seen it coming, right? We've been talking about how just little, let's think, just remember back, folks. We were concerned about Jae'lyn Withers. We weren't comfortable when he had the ball in his hands. He wasn't playing well. He hadn't figured out his role. But here he is, just step at a time, game after game, figuring it out and really becoming a critical part of this Tar Heel unit. I mean, when you add the starting 5 plus Withers, Seth Trimble, Jalen Washington off the bench, my goodness, that is an 8 that I'll go to war with any day. And that's the number you need is 8. But Pack, in this game, Jae'lyn Withers, 15 points, 10 boards to lead Carolina. That's the most rebounds of anyone on the team. His first double-double as a Tar Heel, season high in points and rebounds. But I think perhaps even more important is yet again, just 1 turnover. Pack, you and I were talking about it on the live reaction show, but he had, if I remember the number correctly, 9 turnovers in the first 6 games of the season. And since then, just 6 in the most recent, like 11 or something like that. But it's changed, whatever the specifics of it are, it's changed dramatically. And he's taking such better care of the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll be the first person to tell you that I was I'm questioning Jae'lyn Withers train.
Listen, I'll line up right behind you as number 2.
But I'll also be the first person to tell you I couldn't be more thrilled for him. Like playing your former team, it's almost as if he had this game marked on his calendar. He was locked in. He was ready to go. And boy, did he really prove how valuable he is and can continue to be tonight. And, it's like you said, he's gotten better with the turnovers. He's gotten more consistent in his role. And just tonight, I thought he was super efficient. He didn't force anything. He let the game come to him. I don't know that he missed a field goal. At one point, he was 5 for 5.
That's right. I think there was one he missed. I'm looking at there was one he missed right after that. He's 5 of 6.
Okay. So, still very, very efficient. Did a great job for us tonight, not only scoring, but rebounding. What he brings for us athletically in the press when we pick up full court. Just some of the freakish finishes he had tonight. The live ball that he dribbled up on the sideline while they were sliding into his legs that led to an RJ Davis 3 in the corner. He's did some really big stuff tonight. And so I'm very, very happy for him and really hoping we can continue to get that Jae'lyn Withers moving forward.
Man, I tell you, the duo of he and Seth Trimble in the defense that they can bring together coming off the bench, there are not many, if any, teams in America that are bringing guys that high level off the bench. Peck, speaking of high-level athleticism, we got to talk about this Elliot Cadeau dunk in transition. Plus, we got the rest of the Four Corners recap coming up for you in just a second. Right after I tell you that this episode of Locked On Tar Heels is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers to roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed or power or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. This episode is also brought to you by our good friends at LinkedIn. Hey, at the start of the new year right here, every small business owner is asking themselves the same question. What's one move I can make this year that'll take my business to the next level? LinkedIn Jobs knows that your success all depends on the team you surround yourself with. That's why they've created the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. It's not just some other job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, making hiring insanely easy when you have that many quality candidates to choose from. We got big plans to grow this show in 2024, and if we end up deciding to hire, we know that having the right teammate and finding them through LinkedIn Jobs could help us do just that. All of this is why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus the leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs also knows that small businesses are wearing a ton of hats and may not have the time or resources to hire. But thankfully, with LinkedIn, that process is intuitive, it's quick, and boy, is it easy. So post your job for free right now at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Again, that's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Isaac Shade and Pat Kilby coming at you following Carolina's 86-70 victory over Louisville. That 70 points means, unfortunately, Carolina's streak of holding all their opponents to 70 points or fewer is over. But, Pat, I guess we could say holding their opponents to 70 or fewer. We could say it that way, and then it's still intact. So, I'm just messing with the math. That's all I'm doing over here. All right, we're going to get into our Four Corners recap of this game. For those of you watching on YouTube, you can see that we have now pulled up the box score so that you can look at it as we talk. Pack, why don't you get us into the Four Corners recap?
Yeah, coming right off the bat here at number 1 is Elliot Cadeau. I mean, you look at his box score and you're like, it's not the best game in the world, not his worst. But first of all, let's talk about the dunk.
Woo!
Man, just from the steal off of the baseline out of bounds to give himself a chance to get fast break points. And then the way he set it up, he kind of slowed down. He had the ball in his palm there. I thought he was just going to go lay it in real nice and smooth, get the easy 2. And then he rose up and turned that thing over on him and really showed just how athletic he really is. And so that was a big, big time play.
Also, quickly, I also loved it because he stared down the Louisville. I don't remember who it was. He stared down the Louisville guy for a second there. He knew what he had just done.
Yeah. You've got to, especially your first dunk in a Carolina uniform. You gotta let him know.
First dunk? That was his first dunk?
That was his first dunk as a Carolina player.
I missed. Somehow I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was a good one too. And so that play was a big time play. But also, he was 2 for 4 from the field, but those 2 times that he did score were big moments, when Louisville was maybe knocking on the door a little bit and Elliot went and got to the lane and got one off the glass a couple times there. 3 assists, 3 steals. That's one of the underrated parts of his game is he's got really quick hands and he finds a way to get his hands on the ball and disrupt defensively. And so just a really nice game from him, but love seeing that athletic dunk.
Yeah, very much so. And he's just, I know as you were talking about this on our live post game, is that the confidence just isn't there with his shot. He's got the capability. He's going to get there. But man, he's affecting the game in every other way. And I'm really encouraged by that. Pack, let's get to our second thing in our Four Corners recap. And that's Carolina's assist numbers. They had 19 assists on 29 made baskets in this game. I think at one point it was like 8 of 11. In terms of assist percentage, but that 19 of 29 is 65.5%, which is the second highest assist percentage this season behind only the Tennessee game. And what's neat is that it wasn't reliant on just RJ or just Elliot. In fact, while RJ led the team with 6 assists to go along, by the way, with his 6 rebounds and 21 points, Armando, 5 assists, Harrison Ingram, 5 assists in this game. You love to see that from both of these guys. But here's what I also love, Pack. Harrison Ingram, 5 assists, 0 turnovers. Armando Bacot, 5 assists, 2 turnovers. That is what Carolina needs, not just from the backcourt doing it, but from the front court as well.
No doubt. Yeah, just to see Armando be able to get – and he got all 5 of his assists in the first half.
That's right.
And so he was really dishing that thing. And really, when he's doing that, boy, that makes us really, really tough to guard. And so that was great to see. Number 3 here in the Four Corners rebounding. Carolina wins the rebounding battle 40-28, making this the 6th straight game we've won the rebounding battle, and not just won it, but won it by 7 or more rebounds. And so really ever since the UConn game, Carolina has committed to the glass, and they've made that very, very important.
Can I correct that though and say UConn, Kentucky, Oklahoma, and then after the Oklahoma game?
Yes. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. And so the way we've committed to the glass has been just big time. It's changed us as a team drastically, I feel like, and made not only our defense better, but made our offense better. 12 offensive rebounds tonight. 6th straight game with 12-plus offensive rebounds. So just our commitment to the glass has been really, really good. And that's always been a staple of Carolina basketball. So seeing us get back to that has been great.
And I love that Carolina did. I mean, plus 12 on the glass, and Armando Bacot only has 7, and Harrison Ingram only has 4. Dude, like when, we're going to talk about offensive balance in a little bit, but when you have this kind of defensive balance or rebounding balance, when Armando doesn't have to do it all, Harrison doesn't have to do it all, because a guy like Jae'lyn's coming in and getting 10, dude, that is so good for this team. And that, I just said it, offensive balance, that is our fourth thing in our four corners recap. Pack, we talked about Elliot having 5 points, but the other four starters were all in double digits, plus Jae'lyn Withers. RJ had 21, Armando 19, Jay Witt 15, Cormac Ryan 14, and Harrison Ingram with 10. And Pack, I just don't know, like, at what point does what RJ's doing become like, oh, okay, fine. He got 20 points again. I mean, at this point, he's got 11 20-point games this season, if I have my memory correct, in 17 games. He's now 41.9% from three on the season. He's almost up to 90. What did we say the percentage was on his free throw shooting? Gosh, I've already forgotten it. We were talking about it just a little bit ago. Forgive me while I pull that back up real quick, folks. 95.7 from the free throw line this year. He's made 67 of 70. He's up over 50 made threes. He's made 52 this year in just 17 games. You better believe he is on pace to set the Carolina all-time record for made threes in a season. Pack. This offensive balance, you talked about it on the live reaction show, but just another word or two, Pack, about why that balance makes it so difficult on an opponent.
Yeah, the balance makes it very tough because the defense has to decide what are we going to try to take away. Are you going to try to take away Armando? Are you going to try to take away the 3-point line, which we have multiple guys shooting really well from out there now? And so, and when Armando's got 5 assists in the first half, you really can't take away, you can't double off on Armando because then it's advantage offense and he's passing out and we're getting whatever shot we want. And so that balance is really key. And hopefully we can maintain that moving forward. And the key to it is just sharing the basketball. And this team seems to have really bought into that togetherness, playing together and really sharing it. And that makes us all the tougher to guard.
In addition to playing together, it's also good to play hard and play smart.
Yeah.
I heard a guy named Dean Smith apparently said that one time.
He's pretty wise.
Pack, is Cormac Ryan finally finding his stroke? We've got the Kilby stat of the game and the shady stat of the game coming up for you in just a second. Right after I tell you that this episode of Locked on Tar Heels is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL playoffs just kicked off, and there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there's a bunch of different ways to bet. Things like same-game parlays or their new Explore tab that helps you find bets you want. They've also got Final Four odds. How about this? Purdue plus 170, Arizona plus 230, Houston and UConn plus 250, and then Carolina and Auburn tied at plus 390. So if you want to get in on that action or others, visit FanDuel.com/locked-on and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right, Pack, let's get the good folks, the Kilby and shady stats of the game. Plus, we got a shout out for Armando, and we want to kind of look at the state of where the ACC is now after Wednesday night's action.
Yeah. So my stat of the game is Cormac Ryan going 4 of 7 from the 3-point line tonight. Really seemed to find his rhythm, his confidence, his comfort level seems very high. Just knocking down 4 threes.
And he started 4 of 4, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes,
yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did. Absolutely,
he did. And so he came out hot. And I think what that does for him is just, and really seems to the last couple of games, is starting to get back on the right track. As far as his comfort level and his confidence seems to be skyrocketing. Tonight, his performance tonight, 4 for 7 from 3, gets him above 30% from the 3-point line on the season, which when you first hear it, when I first heard it, that kind of shocked me a little bit because we brought him in to be a shooter, but there's been some struggles, and that's part of it. To be a shooter, you got to be somewhat of a psycho. You just got to keep shooting the rock, no matter if it's going in or not. And so he's doing that, and it's starting to go in, so let's keep doing that, Cormac.
There was a psycho at courtside on Wednesday night, Pack in the form of Psycho T. Love that. Yeah, I love, and here's what I love with Cormac Ryan, man, is it doesn't matter if all of that is not falling. This dude is engaged and he's finding other ways to impact the game. And I think that's just critically important. Again, it just goes with the experience of a veteran team. My shady stat of the game actually kind of builds on the Kilby stat of the game, because the Tar Heels as a collective team were 10 of 22 from 3 in this game. That's 45.5%. Why do I bring that up? Well, because it's the most threes they've made in an ACC game this season, and it's the highest 3-point percentage they've made in a game this season. So not only did they take a ton, but they made a ton at an efficient clip. That's what we expect this Carolina team to be able to do consistently. And so hopefully, if Cormac is on the right path now, that he can join with what RJ's doing, with what Harrison Ingram's doing, and kind of collectively, and Seth Trimble at a smaller sample size is doing from 3. And so in this game, not only did Cormac make 4, as Pack talked about, RJ had 4, and then Harrison Ingram had the other 2. That's it. 3-point shooting for both our stats of the game. All right. I want to shout out Armando Bacot for moving into 4th place on the all-time Carolina scoring list. He passes the great Lenny Rosenbluth, who had 2,047. Armando, now after scoring 19 in this game, has 2,061. And Pack, this is hard to believe, but the only 3 names in front of him all-time in scoring at Carolina are Sam Perkins, who's next up, Phil Ford second, and then T. Hands, who we just referenced, in first. He's not going to catch up to Tyler Hansbrough, folks, who has 2,872 career points. But I'll tell you what, everything plays out the way it should. Armando Bacot's going to finish his Tar Heel career 2nd all-time in Carolina scoring. He's, gosh, I'm just doing rough math, but about 80 behind Sam Perkins, and then about 229 behind Phil Ford. So very well could finish in 2nd place there. Pack, what a career for this man in number 5.
Yeah, he's had quite a career, hasn't he? Just, that's unbelievable. You know, sitting there looking at those numbers he's put up, but also the names around him. And, you know, I just hope as Carolina fans, we're not taking it for granted, because I feel like sometimes we do. But, yeah, we're watching history, and it's really cool to see. Well-deserved for Bacot. Well-deserved.
All right, Pack, let's just give a quick update on the ACC standings. There were 3 ACC games on Wednesday night in addition to Carolina's. The one that everyone saw because it bled over into the Carolina game. It's like Saturday, we got robbed of the end of the game. On Wednesday, we got robbed of the beginning of the game. So ESPN as an organization owes us about 8 minutes of game time. Anyway, Florida State, man, they are cruising right now. They won at Miami. What are the Hurricanes doing, bro? Come on. Thankfully, Miami didn't foul at the end of the game, so they got to the Carolina game a little bit quicker. And then Virginia got a needed win over Virginia Tech in Charlottesville. Virginia's winning all the time at home and losing all the time on the road. So that makes the ACC standings. Carolina, as we said, is one of just 4 undefeated Power 6 conference teams in conference play. Right behind the Tar Heels are NC State and FSU at 5-1. Duke at 4-1. They just haven't played their 6th game yet. Wake Forest at 4-2. But Pack, after that, every other ACC school has at least 3 losses. Virginia has 3. Miami has 3. Clemson has 4. And then everyone else is just, you know, not teams I think we're remotely concerned about. So Carolina, Pack, regardless of if they win the regular season or not, they are well on their way to one of those coveted top 4 seeds, which gets a double bye in the ACC tournament.
Yes, and that goes back to what we talked about, you know, at the beginning of the year, about making the ACC very important. Carolina's done that. They've got themselves off to a great start. They're setting themselves up for the ACC tournament, the NCAA tournament. Just keep taking it one game at a time. And keep that. Let's hope to keep the 0 in that loss column. Keep it rolling.
Well, Carolina is going to have an opportunity to do just that on Saturday at Boston College. Again, that game's going to be on the CW, folks. So good luck finding your way there in Conti form. I think the tip is like 2:15 or something random like that. So make sure you're ready for that. Coach Rob is going to join me on tomorrow's show to help us get ready and prepared for that game. Folks, by the way, if you didn't check out the live post-game reaction that Pack and I did, you can make sure to check that out as well. I'm going to drop it into the audio feed as well. I'm going to start doing that with our post-game reactions, and so we'll do that. I'm going to have a live post-game on Saturday, as always. Pack, you got a game or you want to join me?
Hopefully we'll be playing in the championship of our tournament on Saturday.
Ooh. All right, so you're not going to join me, but we'll be cheering you on. Folks, that's it for today's episode of Locked On Tar Heels. You can follow us on Twitter. Come join the Discord again. It's free. The link's in the show notes. Subscribe to the show on video and audio. Please, if you would, rate and review us 5 stars. Talk about why you love it. For those watching, smash the like button so we know that you were here. Pack and I both want to let you know that it's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll talk with you again tomorrow, but until then, peace.